Hi everyone, it's Kelly with Women for One, and today I'm here with my new friend Molly McCord, and we are going to have a great conversation. It's June 2015, and it's a gorgeous day in the Northwest, and Molly is a fellow Northwesterner, so
yes,
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here to talk with you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Molly actually is a consciousness catalyst, and she calls herself that, and I love that word. But she's also an author of many, many books, which we'll talk about a few of them today, and a teacher. And also newly pregnant, which congratulations.
Right,
it's very exciting.
Thank you. Pregnant with a baby. Normally I'm pregnant with pasta. So it's kind of nice baby. Yes.
So you're due a little later this year.
That's
and
right.
it's exciting.
Coming up. So yeah,
good
it's
for
a good
you.
time.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So today I'm really excited to be talking with Molly about how to get real with yourself and what it is she actually does to support people in doing that. And I think we can talk a little bit about her book and also find out more about her journey to getting where she is to helping people. So first I'd like to start with Molly, why don't you just tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how the journey that you took to get where you are today, where you help women and men come into their true and whole selves.
Yeah, well, and I think many people can relate. The journey is never what you expect it to be. It's always this crazy winding path. But it started for me back in the 90s when I started my interest in metaphysics and exploring astrology, and that kind of opened the door to more of these spiritual teachings. And then I'd say my first spiritual awakening, if you will, was in 2002 when I met one of my first spiritual teachers who really helped me get real with myself and see things in me that I wasn't seeing in myself. And I think that's a really big part of any spiritual journey, is that you need someone who can help you go deeper into yourself, who acts as that guide. So that was back in the day, a while ago. And then since then, I've just kept exploring, kept following different teachings and different things that have called to me, and I've just found so many other layers that I find more people want to explore in themselves these days. You want to know more about your gifts and your talents, but then you also want to know more about, well, what do I need to change? What isn't working in my life? Where do I need to go and really look at where things aren't always so pretty? And so I feel that that has a lot of value, and there's a lot of gold in that. And so that's really what I help people do through consciousness, is understanding more about who they are, their own power, their own gifts, and what they're here to share and do, and how they can be of service to more people in that way.
Yeah, and I love the word consciousness. I think probably 20, 30 years ago, consciousness meant a whole different thing, and I think now we're moving into a spot in the world, in a phase in the world where consciousness is just about like, look, I just want to be happy. I want to understand why I'm here. I want to understand why I do the things I do and have more of an awareness so that I can, as in Women for One, we talk about make life happen. I want to make my life happen. So how would you define consciousness?
Oh, I love that. I love that, Kelly. Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with looking at the fullness of yourself, the vastness of, this is who I am. These are my talents. These are my gifts. This is what I want. This is what I'm all about. And then there's the parts of ourselves that we're raising up. I always think of it as like you're raising it up to a higher level of light or a higher level of understanding, where you see your unconscious or subconscious patterns, and you can see those in relationships, you can see those in your jobs, you can see them in your emotions, you can see those in your thoughts. I mean, there's so many parts of ourselves that we're discovering in new ways right now. And I think consciousness is the understanding that every parts of ourselves can be really understood from a higher perspective and really bring us more of that inner happiness, that inner joy, that inner love that we all want in our lives.
Totally. And I love the word that you use, layers, because I mean, I'm older than you, almost 10 years older, and every day it's like a new layer that comes out for me. And I thought like, oh, I've dealt with that, and it was in this nice little package, and then I'm like, oh, there it comes again. And so I think for our community, we really need to have some forgiveness for ourselves and some self-compassion, that it does take a really long time. It's a journey, as a lot of the, hate to be corny, quotes say, but it really is a journey. It's not a destination.
No, and I love what you just said, Kelly, because it is like you continually look at something that you thought you were done with, and it comes right back to your front door, but you recognize it sooner. You know what it is. You move through it faster. You move through it with more awareness, with more consciousness, and then you get to the other side, and you're like, okay, well, next time that shows up, I know what to do with it again. I know how I have to move through that and really feel like I got some control over it.
Little foundation.
Yeah.
More of a foundation. But I find that, and I just did the webinar with Jeff Brown and Christine Gutierrez on spirituality, and I find that there's a lot of people that have kind of gone through that spiritual consciousness space, and now they're like, look, I just want to be happy. And I want to figure this out for myself, and I want to make my own customized toolbox. Would you agree? And how do people do that?
I think there's a few ways to do that, and it's actually an exciting time to be doing that because as you expand your consciousness, you see your own themes. And I like to think of them as soul themes. It's like, okay, this keeps coming up in my relationships, or this is something that keeps coming up for me. Maybe it's that perfectionist thing, or maybe it's that inner critic, or maybe it's that part of yourself that you feel like you're always, in battle with. And I feel like there's so many tools these days for understanding that you are in control of all of this, and you can turn this around, and you can change it up for yourself. And one of the ways that I feel we need to do that is simply by getting quiet and listening and just being aware of our own inner dialogue and where we go, because that programming shows up. You say, okay, well, maybe I'm really hard on myself about this area of my life. Well, look at where that started. Or look at where that originated from in your life, and you can go back and work on those in new layers. And it's a big topic. This is a big subject. Yeah. But, I mean, it's simply getting quiet and really being aware of yourself and where you're authentically being in that space.
I love that. And so I want to talk a little bit about your books. How many books do you have as of today?
8.
You have 8 books, and which one do you want to focus on for our community today?
Well, I feel like the modern heroine's journey of consciousness is the one that's really striking a chord with people. It's really taking off on social media because people are recognizing how our journeys are so similar, and that people have said, I feel like you were just in my head when you wrote that, or that's exactly what my story has been. And there's all these parts of our journeys that are the same, and there's a lot of comfort in that. There's community in that. There's a lot of gifts and understanding that there's similar things that we each go through. And so the modern heroine's journey of consciousness is sort of a guide of understanding all these parts of ourselves that we go through, the highs and the lows and the dark and the light, but you keep moving through it and you arrive at a whole new understanding of yourself.
So when you say it's the journey, so is it a book about your life, or is it a book more to guide people through their journey and give them some tools to access that journey?
It's actually based on Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, only this is told from a spiritual perspective and a feminine perspective, meaning it's more about the inner world more so than the outer world, which is what the hero's journey is about. So this is where you go into those spiritual, intuitive, emotional places and move through them. So there's 11 stages, which is what the book describes, 11 stages, and how they each build on each other and relate to each other. And as you keep going, you get to some more gold within yourself.
I love that you're building on Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
He's just so amazing.
Such great stuff.
That's awesome. And then you have some other books I'd love for you to mention.
Yeah. So I wrote my spiritual memoir, The Art of Trapeze, which is actually my own personal modern heroine's journey. And then that's more about what I went through and the highs and the lows to understand myself in a new, fuller way. And then I have a few other books that are about your awakening self is one. The Unlimited Sparks of a Bonfire is another one, which is about some past life stories and soul themes. And more.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You have a lot to share.
Yeah. I'm insane.
That's awesome.
Machine.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So how can people interact with you and connect with you? Not just on your website, but what else can they do other than read your books?
So I have a weekly radio show if you'd like to take a listen. It's been on for 3 years, and you can download any episodes on iTunes. And then, of course, social media. I love social media, and I'm the one who's on there. I'm the one posting. It's really me. And I love interacting with people that way, and messages and emails. So I'm very present in my work and online because that's the best way to connect with people. So you can find me on those places. And then my website is called consciouscoolchic.com.
And I say conscious cool chick.
Yeah.
When that works. She's like, that works. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Conscious cool chick.
Yeah.
And Do you do any kind of consulting for people or personal readings or anything?
Yeah, I've done astrology readings for a number of years. That's something else I offer. And then I also help people develop their spiritual business. So I do that kind of marketing and business work too. So I have a lot on my plate, but I do it, it doesn't feel like
You're
a lot.
following your passion.
Yeah, yeah.
You really are. And just so all of you know, Molly and I are going to do a series of subject areas that I find and we both agree and are aligned on to have a conversation about being real with yourself and really getting real in life about what you need to do to make your life happen. That would be one.
Yes.
Another one down the road will be about the power of the sisterhood as well. And I'm excited to say I'm going to be on Molly's radio show next week, but this will be airing later, about the power of the story, because that's what Women for One is all about, is really sharing your story with no shame and being proud of it and learning from it and releasing it.
Absolutely.
And learning the lessons you need to learn.
Yes. And knowing that you're with others in those lessons and that there's such a great community, which is what I love about Women for One, is that it really supports that community and people sharing. So,
yes. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
it was
Kelly.
so great. And please check
you.
Molly out at Conscious Cool Chic, CHIC.com. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.